Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hi.
When it gets settled, there are a couple of seats up here in the front. We're very, very honored to have Victor Wang here today. You run, along with your co-founder, one of the, in fact, the largest fund that focuses on early stage investing in China.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we are the largest small fund in the world.
In the world, okay.
The largest small fund, yeah.
And one of the ways that you've started to build this business is to go hunting for sea turtles.
Yeah.
So explain what that is.
Oh, I don't know how many people are familiar with the Chinese saying sea turtles. Actually, sea turtles refer to those returnees from abroad when they finish their education or work. Because before, Bob and I founded ZhenFund, I mean the earliest stage investment fund. Both of us, were co-founders of the largest educational company in China that that got listed at New York Exchange in 2006. So 10 years before we really founded this fund, two of us were teachers at New Oriental. And what's the business of this company was to send all the Chinese students who wanted to study abroad. So it's very natural, for us, when we sort of retired and left New Oriental, when we started this fund, it was so natural for us to just reach those students who either studied abroad or worked already in the American companies or some other foreign companies who really wanted to come back to really try to see whether they can find a position to do their startups in China.
And at this point, roughly, how big is your portfolio?
Right now, as of now?
Yeah.
We have started this fund December 2011. So towards this December, our fund will be in operation for almost 4 years. We deployed about $200 million US,
200 million.
Yeah, already, and invested across 250 plus startup companies.
250, and some of them have already gone public, correct? In
No,
both?
not the two companies like Jumei and Date and Light in the Box, that were invested by Bob and I individually before we really started this fund.
I see.
But so far, there's no company.
So you have a very unique perspective on the kinds of technologies and the kinds of companies that Chinese engineers overseas are interested in developing businesses for. What are the primary technologies that these engineers and these entrepreneurs want to bring back to China to start businesses?
I think the companies that we invested in were those companies. The founders have very clear vision that how they can use their technology or expertise to really either disrupt or undermine or add a tremendous value to the conventional business practice. For example, we were lucky to invest in a guy who was a former Google X scientist, one of the chief designer of the Google Glass. He is a computer visual recognition scientist.
Visual recognition.
Yeah, a Brown PhD. 10 years ago when he published his first paper on the future of computer visual recognition technology, the whole field thought it was crazy and too much ahead of time. But he totally believed that this technology has reached the timing that can be try to be commercialized. So he actually quit Google and founded his company in Beijing 2 years ago. And we were luckily to invest into his company. What his technology could do or will do is something like this. Right now, the computer visual cameras, like surveillance, right? Cameras, actually, they are dumb cameras. they can only do one thing, to record, then archive all the data. And when something happened, they can only provide the pool of information that people can go back to search. So there's a timing lag and between something really happening and the things already happened. So what his technology will do that, he will make the recording equipment a real smart eye. That is to say, this camera can really give you a pretty accurate analysis of the significance of a certain behavior of human beings, let's say in a public place, whether it implies an immediate danger or it's just a normal, exciting, movement. So if the eye can immediately, in real time, make a judgment that implies something dangerous, this camera will immediately send a signal to whoever can come to the spot, in the first time.
That's amazing. So how do you have some unique techniques for finding the sea turtles that
we don't have the camera.
Right.
Okay, sea turtles.
But talk about your use of WeChat in essentially advertising the fact that you are available to these engineers for possible investment.
Well, besides those publicly available medias, what Bob and I, our asset, is almost all the Chinese students studying abroad, even their next generation, one way or another, they have known us through different, sources because in their, mind, we are still teachers, and they respect us a lot. And each time, Bob and I will spend some time, annually, either to the United States or England or some other places to just tell those Chinese students if they want to do their startups, probably it's the right timing for them to think of moving back to China, because now the entrepreneurial landscape in China is unbelievably amazing. So if they miss this timing, probably next time they can wait is to maybe to do things in some other place on the earth.
How do you evaluate the idea that the entrepreneur brings to you, and what do you ask them to do in order to sort of proof of concept the idea?
Well, as ZhenFund, we position us as a very early stage fund. How early? When you just have a dream, or even you just have nightmare, or a lot of, in most cases, even the founders, they cannot think very clearly what they want to do. But when we talk with them, if we find, they are super talented, and they have the real authentic passion, and they have some sort of capability of delivering their, blueprint, probably which is still in the, imagining stage. We just make a bet on them. That's our style of, investing people. Probably different from all the rest of the funds, because Bob has a very famous saying that becomes our philosophy. He said, as the earliest, investing, a fund, we are only trying to make judgment on one thing. The dream is true or will be true. That's enough, because for those early starters, the only thing that we can look into or try to make sense of is nothing but their dreams. And Bob said, dream is not the numbers, it's not the BP, it's not something that concrete you can really tear it off and try to see through. A dream is something you can never audit.
But you are trying to evaluate the quality of the person,
people,
right?
yeah, people, yeah.
Right. And how do you do that?
Basically, what we look into the quality of the people, probably we should say from three angles. First of all, if the person has thought of doing this for a period of time, that is to say, even though they cannot clarify their dream right now, but they have been thinking of doing this for a long time. So we treated this as sort of their expertise or authenticity already. If you don't think, you say, well, I want to do startup. Well, we don't believe that. If they say, well, for the past 2 years, 3 years, I've been thinking of doing this. I must do this, right? I don't just need some money. Probably it's 1 plus. Another thing is that we'll try to make a judgment on whether the founder has some sort of charisma. Because as an early startup person, you don't have money, and you don't have proved, success to attract super talented people. And for a startup, even for a startup, if you want to grow into something big, you do really need to attract the super talented, even the people that are smarter than you. How can they do that? Well, if you are a real visionary, probably you can just share your dream with them, and they just listen to your story. Probably they will be convinced, right? Like Bob convinced me to join him all the time, and we've been working for the past 30 years, and still going to cooperate for the rest of our life.
So all you would-be entrepreneurs, charisma is a big thing?
Yeah, that's very, very important, because charisma at the very beginning is the largest leverage tool you can use, other than option or money or whatever. Because those real super talented people, they don't look very highly of the money you offer right now. They even look further than you can look. So that's the second thing. The third thing is whether the direction they choose to go in will make some business sense. It's a purely imaginative thing, or it does make some sense, or according to common sense, it will respond to some real demand. Okay, so if this thing is coming together and we think the person can really handle this things very well, we just put some money.
What about, do you try to get a sense of how they might be as managers?
Well, I think for most of the entrepreneurs, there are two things they have to learn in the long process to success. One is how to manage money. Another is manage people. So in the beginning, if they don't have the experience of managing either of this, we don't worry too much, because anyway, they're going to learn the either way or even the harder way. So
you feel you can help them
sure,
with that?
Because we used to be entrepreneurs ourselves, and we have experienced or gone through almost all the phases that a normal company will have to experience.
The Chinese markets have gotten very volatile over the last month or two. There have been reports that this has started to have a chilling effect on investment in China.
Okay.
Are you seeing that, and are you concerned about it?
Well, this kind of when you talk about the huge correction recently, probably it didn't have, or it doesn't have, or will not have immediate impact on us as the earliest stage fund, because we have a very long-term perspective in terms of return or see the companies grow. Our perspective for as long as 10 years or even more, right? What I can see the correction will do to to cool down is probably something very positive. Because cool down in terms that almost all the capital will have to think very rationally, whether they can immediately, without thinking too much, to support the valuation that the startup people throw on the table. And on the other hand, it will cool down the dreaming appetite for the startup people that when they even just have a simple idea, they want to feel so good because they ask, a very big valuation of the company. So if this market correction can really educate both sides. I think we'll have a better and more rational, more valuable market ahead of us.
And do you see the entrepreneurs that you are bringing to China? You told me that at a certain point, you often ask them to go back to either the United States or to Europe and actually test their products and their ideas there, because it's a more mature market, I guess. Tell us a little bit about that idea.
Yeah, the ZhenFund's philosophy is not limited by the gender, the geographical boundary, race, or a sector, whatever. It's only maybe limited by how far the creativity can reach, right? So sometimes we bring people back to China because we think their product or their service or their thinking of business will be more, will make more sense on the Chinese market. And sometimes I will think their product or service probably can immediately, take a what I call global, trial. For example, last year, ZhenFund invested in a startup company. All the 4 founding members are graduate from Hong Kong Polytech University. What they want to do by the time when they give us a pitch was they want to create a mobile app that will totally undermine our experience of sending and receiving or reading email, right? Probably a lot of people think, well, email is dead, and why you spend energy on that? But their idea was very simple and convincing. They said, well, let's look at United States. For the past half century, most of the human information, has been, in the format of email. And it's like a dinosaur, and still there, but it's hard to move, not that nimble, right? So people do have the need to really make their experience of reading that huge, clumsy thing much easier and friendly, like what we now experience when we do WeChat or similar things. So the thing is that we think their business did make sense, and we just told that was before Chinese New Year. We told the 4 founding members. They said, yes, we wanted to invest in you because I think it's an exciting and new thing and very useful. We'll add some value to the world, but on one condition only: you don't stay in Hong Kong. You don't try to move back to mainland. Go to Silicon Valley. If you go there, okay, we just put money in. And after the New Year, this is 1 week, we received in the office a fax, showing that, for one-way ticket from Hong Kong to San Francisco. Then after reading this fax, we immediately wired them the money. Yeah? And now they are doing pretty well, and even grabbed the attention of the Fox TV channel, probably in Texas, not the main Fox, but the Fox, I saw that during the morning program called Moneyline. The host and hostess, they had a 15-minute conversation downloading, playing with this app. They think it helps them a lot.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
We're out of time. Victor Wang, thank you so much.
Wow, thank you, Jonathan.
And thank you for all listening today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.